Yes! Oh, it is. It is a Friday episode. Happy Friday. Man, we almost made it to the weekend. Donno Daily here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We came on a little bit early today because, I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling chill. I've got a lot to say, and we're loaded up today. Hussam Patel is going to join us to talk some Dolphins at around 3:05 p.m. About 3:20, Ethan Skolnick, the man, the myth, the legend, CEO of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ethan's going to join us at around 3:20. Of course, we'll talk a lot of Heat basketball with Ethan. Miami Heat get it done again last night. They exposed the Washington Wizards. I know Wizards came in with an excellent record, 10-4 on the year. Oh, they were one of the surprises of the East, how well they were playing. So if you thought based on the records, hey, the Wizards are just as good, maybe better than the Miami Heat because of their win-loss record, you see what happens when an overachieving team goes up against a truly good team. Jimmy Butler and company, and they did it without Tyler Herro last night, exposed the Washington Wizards. I also want to ask Ethan. Oh, and yes, look at the standings. What a beautiful sight. Hallelujah. 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 Who's on top of the East? The Miami Heat. Who's on top of the East? The Miami Heat. I want to ask Ethan as well if he has any preference on Mario Cristobal or Lane Kiffin at the University of Miami. And before we wrap up the show, and A-Rod here. We got A-Rod himself in the chat noting that they were missing Spencer Dinwiddie. We were missing, though, the sixth man of the year, the baby Jordan. So I don't want to hear any excuses. Ethan Skolnick will join us at 3:20, 3:45. Our guy, Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. We're going to get some winners for the weekend with Mr. Sterling. Guys, you are always a winner when you dine at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The Quarterdeck is the official sports bar of Donno Daily, an official sports bar partner of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We are having a watch party on Tuesday, November 23rd, this upcoming Tuesday, a Miami Heat watch party at the Quarterdeck Davie location. It's going to be so much fun, man. They've got 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. The drink specials never end. They got the flat screen, high-def TVs covering every wall. The seafood is so good. The chicken wings are awesome. The buffalo shrimp are my favorite appetizer. The sandwiches and the burgers are legit. And make sure you save room for the key lime cheesecake. That is the perfect way to finish every single meal, my friends. And make sure you go out to the Quarterdeck every UFC pay-per-view fight for zero cover charge at the Quarterdeck. Saturdays and Sundays, when you go out there for college football and NFL football, take advantage of the 5 for $15 ice-cold buckets of imported beer and high noon hard seltzer, or mix and match those to your heart's content. If you want to find the location nearest to you or peep that menu before you go, visit them on the web at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And yes, my friends, we have an official sports book here on Donno Daily. BetUS.com. They are America's favorite sports book, the 3-decade leader, the standard bearer for the industry. Guys, BetUS has award-winning customer service. They've got the best bonuses in the industry, and we have a bonus for you. You will not find a bonus like this at any of the competition. If you sign up at BetUS.com with our show code 5RSN125, type in 5RSN125 at BetUS.com, and they're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. If you deposit $100, for example, they're going to give you $125 of free play money to bet with on top of your deposit. If you sign up with $1,000, they'll give you $1,250 of free play money on top of your deposit. BetUS is a full-service sports book, guys. You can find odds on any sporting event, live betting on all of it, parlays, teasers. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. They also have a full casino right there on the website. It truly is amazing. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. And my guy, Big Dan, reminds me, not only do we have a first place Miami Heat, we have a first place Florida Panthers as well. The indoor sports are carrying the football teams in this town right now, and the soccer team, because I haven't forgotten about Inter Miami missing out on a playoff spot this year. But the indoor teams are carrying the outdoor teams. Like, I'm just hoping my Hurricanes can find the right athletic director and the right head coach if and when that job becomes open, and be bowl eligible, beat Virginia Tech this weekend, beat Duke, try to go 7-5, just salvage what's been a really frustrating, disappointing season. And of course, my Miami Dolphins, they might win their next 4, but even if they do, they're going to be 7-7, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year. So the indoor sports are making up for the outdoor sports right now. I have a lot to get to on this episode. Now, when Hussam Patel joins us at 3:05, I've got a little bone to pick with Hussam. And I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. But I see him in our 5 Reasons Sports Dolphins chat complaining this morning about the way that Mac Jones gets covered by the media. Like he thinks it's over-the-top praise for Mac Jones. And bros, I'm a Dolphins fan. I despise the New England Patriots. But if I take my bias out of it, I think Mac Jones has been an incredible story to start the year. All credit to the Patriots defense. Of course, the defense is really carrying the offense, but Jones, he has stepped up better than I thought he would at this point in his rookie year, because I wasn't really that bullish on Mac coming out of Alabama, at least not right away. I thought he'd be a little bit more of a project, but he's doing everything they are asking him to do. He's already showing great leadership. He doesn't get hurt all the time like another former Alabama quarterback does. And listen, he's been fine. So let me I want to bring on Hussam. I see he's already in here a little bit early. So before we talk some Miami Heat, maybe I brought him on too early. Why do I see a nothingness there? Hold on. There he is. Hussam Patel. Hussam, what's going on, sir? How are you?
What's up, Alex? How you doing, man?
Dude, I am doing very, very well. Now, I mentioned right before you popped in, I got a little bone to pick with you because I saw you post something in one of the 5 Reasons Sports group chats this morning. I think it was the Dolphins chat. And I'm in so many. Like, I'm in a 5 Reasons Sports combat sports chat. I'm in the main thread chat. I'm in the Heat chat. I'm in the Canes chat, the Dolphins chat. I assume it was in the Dolphins chat where you were complaining about like the over-the-top love that the media gives to Mac Jones.
That's honestly, very nice way of putting it, Alex.
You wrote it a different way, that even though we're on, the internet and the FCC doesn't govern us, if I read it the way that you wrote it, it might get us both kicked off of YouTube. I don't know how that works, but you seem to be a little bit resentful of the over the top praise for Mac Jones. And honestly, bro, I think he's earning it. I think that his efficiency, his leadership, I think he is the rightful heir to Tom Brady. I think that Mac Jones, clearly the best rookie quarterback in the NFL right now. And honestly, Hussam, maybe this isn't a place you were going with it, but if I had my choice right now, if I could trade Tua Tagovailoa straight up for Mac Jones, I would not hesitate for a second. I would take Mac Jones over Tua. And a big reason for that is I don't see Mac Jones getting hurt. New England Patriots have played 11 games. Mac Jones has played 11 games. Tua, you're lucky if you get 12, 13 out of 17 from this guy any given season. Give me Mac over Tua.
What did you take for breakfast this morning? Any pills or anything else?
A lot of cocaine.
Oh, man, there's a lot to unpack there. I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, I'm being serious. I would take Mac Jones over Tua. I'm not even joking.
Well, I would take Tua Tagovailoa in New England over Mac Jones.
I don't know about that. I would take Mac in New England. I would take Mac in Miami. I would take Mac in Alabama.
Manny, I think this might be the day where you beat Alex with your foam runners. Just boom, 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 boom. Or give me your foam runners and I'll go boom, 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 boom. What do we all love to see that now, man? I mean, look, Mac Jones is put in the perfect situations for New England. And I think any rookie quarterback, any quarterback that was drafted in between 2020 to 2021 would be doing the same thing Mac Jones is doing now. Justin Fields, if he was starting in New England, you would hear his calls for being rookie of the year. You would hear him be a potential MVP candidate in his rookie year. You put Justin Herbert in New England, he's winning MVP easily. You can put any quarterback. You can put Carson Wentz and his 2 broken ankles in New England, and he will succeed the same way Mac Jones is succeeding. They're not asking Mac Jones to do a lot in this offense. Look, he's completing 70% of his
22 for
pass attempts.
26 last night. I've seen enough. Mac
And
Jones is the real
his
deal.
time to throw is well above what 2.5 seconds, 2.6 seconds. But it's a little bit skewed because he's getting the ball like that because the routes that Josh McDaniels in that offense is drawing up for him, they're dink and dunk styles, the same way Tom Brady was used. Now, as pass catchers, his receivers and running backs, they get a lot of yak. He can literally throw a screen pass 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, and his running back will take it
That's what
up the
winners
field
do.
for 10, 11 yards. That's all that New England offense is. That's all it is. And if Mac Jones was here in Miami, dude, he'd be like Carson Wentz having 2 broken ankles. Sorry, man. I know I had to put Wentz in there for you. I know.
No.
Yeah, look at man. You're making Manny miserable for no reason.
Listen, you bring up Carson Wentz. I think Bill Belichick would have benched Carson Wentz by now with some of the plays that he makes in the fourth quarter, like without question. I am going to say this, Ozam. I see where you're going, and I agree with you to a certain extent, but you look at the Patriots' record right now with Mac Jones compared to what it was with their first year without Tom Brady last year, like the whole team is different. They're playing much better, right? So then that's where I think the talk is coming from. New England is succeeding by doing very little on offense. When I say very little, I mean, let's be honest. Mac Jones is not throwing 30 out of 37 for 4 touchdowns.
They rebuilt and retooled that defense.
Yeah, so that defense is getting the 3 and outs, giving him more opportunities to go out there and to play and to make plays. But let's be honest, man, without Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels, Mac Jones will not be where he is at all.
Let me bring up something because I see a lot of Dolphin fans say this, and I love our guy Zachary B, but he writes in, Mac is doing what Tua did last year, and the media is treating him like a god. I don't think it's apples to apples, okay? And that works both in Tua's favor and against Tua because, you know, Mac's offensive line better than what Tua had last year, but the Dolphins O-line was certainly better last year than it is this year. The Dolphins defense was playing consistently last year the way they played these last couple of games, and yet Tua Tagovailoa last year in all these precious starts that he had where he had a winning record and nobody gave any credit to the defense because they wanted to give all the credit to Tua.
Suddenly quarterback wins are a stat now, Alex.
Well, yeah, but I think that's a stat that Dolphin fans will only use when it's convenient to them if they want to back up their love fest for Tua Tagovailoa because they look at whatever Tua's record was last year. Was it like 9-3, whatever it was last season? And they're like, oh, look at this great record. In 3 of those starts, Tua Tagovailoa threw for under 100 yards. Under 100 yards in 3 of those starts. Mac Jones, his lowest passing output this season is 139 yards. He's never thrown for under 100 yards. Tua Tagovailoa did that 3 times. Also, in one of those starts where people give Tua credit for a victory as a starter was that game in Las Vegas where they're not winning that game if they didn't go to the closer, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who made the most miraculous completion I have ever seen in my entire life to Mac Hollins. So, you know, you can look at this in a number of different ways. People like to cherry pick the numbers that fit their
where we
argument.
can unravel this a little bit more. Here's where we can deep a little bit more. Was this offense built for Mac Jones? Yes. Mm-hmm. Was that offense in 2020 built for Tua Tagovailoa?
No.
Yes or
Should
no?
have been, but it wasn't. It was built for Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And that's where the difference
But the offense this year is built for Tua, and, you know, Tua gets a hangnail every 3 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And the difference is, as Manny said, it's coaching. It's big time on coaching. You have experienced veteran offensive coordinators, offensive line and wide receivers coach in New England compared to Miami, where you have a rookie offensive line coach dealing with first, second, third-year guys and a guy named Jesse Davis. And he's trying to develop them as a first-year offensive line coach. In my personal opinion, that doesn't seem right with me. You want a veteran guy who can develop people, not someone who's a first-year guy and learning on the fly on the offensive line. For wide receivers, I mean, our wide receivers have been hit and miss. I really like Sean Jefferson, our wide receivers coach. Now we have Josh Grizzard from New England. He's been up and down as well. Not to mention Miami has 2, 3, 4, 5 offensive coordinators. New England has 1. And a very good one.
Very good. Yeah, we've got 3 bad ones. They've got 1 very good one. No, and but one thing I want to ask you this hypothetical, okay, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. I don't want to do the whole segment on Mac Jones, although I do enjoy this topic very, very much because I see a lot of Dolphin fans are saying no, I said if I got the opportunity to straight up trade Tua for Mac Jones, I would do it. Most Dolphin fans would disagree with that, but let me ask you this, Hussam: if the shoe was on the other foot, do you think Bill Belichick, if he was offered Tua Tagovailoa for Mac Jones, would he say yes? Because I think he says, hell no. Give me a guy that I can mold into the image of Tom Brady and a guy who's not going to get hurt every 3 or 4 games. I think Belichick would say, thanks, but no thanks.
I think where we would disagree is the point of the talent and valuation and traits. Because if you put Tua behind into that New England offense, he's going to do very well with the rhythmic, the short game, the quick decisions. And Josh McDaniels in that offense is already proven. He's had 20 plus years of offensive experience molding that same type of dink and dunk RPO passing game. Look, the New England Patriots, I believe I read the stat, they're middle of the pack in using RPOs. The Miami Dolphins are the fifth most in the NFL, and that's including some of the RPOs they ran with Jacoby Brissett. Now, with Tua, if they run those RPOs, they run those vertical attacks, they run that short and intermediate game, their efficiency would be much better on offense. Your stat line for Tua Tagovailoa would be better than what Mac Jones is putting out right now. Not to mention, Tua is a little bit more experienced. Now, where I would agree with you is that contract situation where how New England likes to be cost effective. Mac Jones costs much less than Tua Tagovailoa.
That's true.
Mac Jones has he has experience in that system compared to Tua Tagovailoa as well. But just having a quarterback change just dramatically happen like that, I don't think that's a Bill Belichick type of move.
No, it's certainly not. It's purely a hypothetical. I want to move on to the upcoming games. Before we dive into the New York Stinking Jets, let me ask you, Hussam, if we look at these next 4 games, which do look pretty favorable, right? In the next 4 weeks, you've got the Jets twice, and in between that New York Jets sandwich, you've got the Giants and the Carolina Panthers. Yes or no? Do you think the Dolphins are going to be 7-7 about a month from now?
The optimist in me, yes. The realist in me says no.
Yeah, and I agree that the Dolphins, for as well as their defense is playing right now, I still think that they are a mediocre team at best. So they're going to find a way to lose at least one of those games. But so let's start this weekend against New York. Already, I would have favored the Dolphins in this game, no matter who was quarterbacking. It's our old friend Joe Flacco. Now, Flax. He's got a 6-1 record against Miami, but a lot of those in his prime on a very good Baltimore Ravens
team. And they were
team.
all with Baltimore. It doesn't necessarily really matter. You don't take that into context.
No, well, you don't, but I'm throwing it out there because he used to be a Dolphins killer. At least his teams used to be Dolphins killers. But the last time he faced Miami, quarterbacking these New York Jets, he lost 24-0. And he's not your father's Joe Flacco. He's actually older than a lot of your fathers out there at this point. So what are you expecting, and how much do you think the Flacco factor will pay into an opportunity for the Dolphins defense? Because he is experienced, right? So he may be able to to think on the fly in a way that a rookie Zach Wilson might not have been able to do. But also, this is a washed, used up Joe Flacco.
And you're right. Walt Flacco, he's an experienced veteran. He's even less mobile now at 36 years old than he was in his prime with the Ravens. In that 2020 meeting against the Jets, the Dolphins were able to sack him 3 times and force him to throwing 1 pick. If the Miami Dolphins, they want to continue with those safety blitzes this week, Flacco will have to take those hits, and he needs to be poised to get those throws off the field. And it's more likely that he will make mistakes and take those sacks and throw away the ball. When was the last time Joe Flacco played an NFL game? Exactly, Alex. When was the last time Joe Flacco played a game? Now, look, the Jets' offensive line has also been below expectations. The Dolphins' defensive line, they're ranked middle of the pack, 17th in run defense, and I believe 28th, 27th in pass defense. Flacco, he's known for just throwing it up there, using those speed outs, those sluggos, giving it to his guys. But outside of Elijah Moore, there's no real threat with the wide receivers. There's no real threat of a pass catcher. Maybe for running backs, yeah, they're going to try and run and ground and pound the ball, which makes me a little bit weary. But I think the Dolphins should be able to handle that. But any given Sunday, these are the Miami Dolphins we're talking about. So we have to be a little bit cautious.
Yeah, and this is along the lines of what Alex M says here. If this defense handles Lamar Jackson and messes up versus Joe Flacco, it would be the most Finns thing to do. And I was really, concerned a couple weeks ago. I knew the team that they were facing was terrible, but I was a little bit concerned about going up against Tyrod Taylor because he, in a previous life, was a Dolphins killer. And listen, bad opponent. Washed up Tyrod Taylor. I mean, maybe that's a little bit unfair because he did okay.
If you think about it, it's like these 2021 Miami Dolphins flipped the switch. They played really, really good against mobile quarterbacks, but they either lose or win out in really, really close games against people who can manage the pocket well and who are efficient passers that can stand in the pocket. Compared to last season where they got absolutely destroyed by mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah,
but did well up against people who stood in the pocket.
That's a good point. Hussam Patel is with us here, 5 Reasons Sports Network and Dolphins ATZ.com. Well, what is that other thing?
Why do you always got to tease me? Dolphins ATB.
ATB.
I'll be doing a bit of an in-depth preview later today at 5 o'clock on YouTube and Twitch and my Twitter. I'll have a Jets reporter, DJ Bienemy, there as well to talk.
Is he related to Eric?
I'm not too sure.
I just wonder about that because it's not a name you hear every day. Like you're telling me you're speaking to someone whose surname is Bienemy. There's literally
Bien-Ami. That's how I.
Oh, okay. So it's not spelled.
You won't see it. You don't see that dash in spoken word.
Okay. Fair enough. So what have been
also?
Yeah.
If you have a chance to take a look at my recent article for Dolphins ATB, I spoke about the struggles Liam Eichenberg is having along this offensive line. He's given up 44 pressures, the most in the league, and he's ranked top half in sacks as well.
Well, I did want to ask you one more thing before we wrap it up. The biggest differences you've seen in this defense the last few weeks, is it just purely coaching that Flo just decided to go back to the coverages that made them successful last year? A lot more of the cover zero, amoeba defense? Because I also think that, the improvements of a guy like Javon Holland just gives them a lot more options schematically in the communication in that D. What do you think are the top factors for just how much they've stepped up over these last 3 weeks?
I think it's the fact of the younger guys being a little bit more comfortable into the system. I know people were questioning why Jalen Phillips was dropping into coverage at training camp. Yeah. Last week was the reason why. You want to run more of that cover zero, cover one look. You need to have defensive ends that can drop back. I don't know if you saw, but Adam Butler, he was deep 10, 15 yards down the field, a big man. 300-pound defensive tackle playing coverage 10, 15 yards down the field. Jalen Phillips needs to learn how to do that. Javon Holland, we already know he was a good blitzer. He was blitzed early on, but he needs to be better. He needed to be a bit better in coverage. Now you're seeing his PFF grades. You're seeing passes defended. You're seeing him being graded as the second highest safety in coverage as well. Linebacker play comes into this factor as well. They needed to get better early on into coverage to help, really hone in and shine their talents in that cover zero. And it's really scheme dependent too. It really depends on who you're playing against. Some teams you can play cover zero against, some team can't.
By the way, I don't even know the answer to this. I know you do a lot of stuff, but do you have a regular pod where people can find you?
Yeah, I do. Fin Maniacs podcast is out on YouTube. I do a lot of scouting combine college work there. Dolphins ATB, we're on YouTube and we're also on Twitch as well. So follow, the ATB network. Just find us ATB_network on Twitch. I'll be there at 5 p.m. talking about the X's and O's. And this is also my other pod I'm on with the Donno Daily
Yes.
show.
And I still have to write down ATB because the problem is why I have a hard time finding you is when I'm Googling it, I always type in the wrong 3 letters. Like I'm always like, is it ATP? Is it ABC? So Dolphins.
It's a lot of that tinfoil you've been wearing so far, Alex.
Oh, it's true. People think that it like actually protects your brain from like the alien communication, but in reality, it amplifies it. So it's just I've got 20, 30 voices in my head at any given time. So it's a huge problem. But my friend, I always appreciate your breakdowns, and I always appreciate you joining the show. We'll do it again next. Well, usually we do it on Thursday. Today is Friday. Whether it's I don't even care whether it's Thursday or Friday or both. I will talk to you in a week's time or less.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome stuff by Hussam. Wow, and how about this praise? Stay on here for a second. Oops. Hussam. There you go. I just wanted you to see because when people say nice things, I want to make you blush here. I want Brooklyn Rob to make you blush. He says Hussam is becoming my
Rob
favorite
is my
reporter.
guy. Brooklyn Rob is my guy. Make sure Rob, if you're following me on Twitter, you'll usually see all my articles and hot takes and all 22 breakdowns on my Twitter. It's at Hussam Patel.
By the way, are you a Miami Hurricanes fan even in the slightest? Do you care?
Yeah.
Who do you want, Mario or Lane?
Mario Cristobal, you mean, from Oregon?
Yeah.
Well,
what other Mario would I be talking about? Super Mario?
Yes, Mario and Luigi from Super Smash Bros. The fact that Mario Cristobal coming back to South Florida after he was shellacked at FIU, I'm sorry, after he was sacked. That's how you say it.
Yes.
After he was sacked.
Blimey.
At FIU. He would bring in those Pac-12. He would bring those recruits from California, from Texas, from South Florida, from the Pacific Northwest, from the South as well. So that would be great. But Lane Kiffin, I mean, that's a big name.
I love Lane. I'm a big fan.
That's a big name. It also helps that he's got a house in Boca. He was an FAU coach. You have an FAU and FIU connection right there. So I love to hear that. But I mean, I think it's going to be really, really hard to bring them to the University. I mean, those two schools, Ole Miss and Oregon. Oregon can compete with anybody in the Pac-12, and I mean, they are developing guys at such a good rate. They're developing first rounders. So I would think that Oregon would like Mario to be there, and not to mention the fact that they're ranked. Ole Miss, I mean, Lane Kiffin's high-flying offense is fantastic. Their defense has been a little bit suspect, but the Miami Hurricanes, they're known for being a defensive-minded team the last, 15, 20 years, I believe?
Yeah, up until Tyler Van Dyke. The Tyler Van Dyke era is changing that a little bit.
Yeah, up until the Tyler Van Bleep era. Yeah, exactly. It is changing that a little bit. So unless Miami wants to make that change from being defensive-minded to offensive-minded, Lane Kiffin would be the guy. But again, it's not dependent on the coaches. It's dependent on that administration, Alex. And that administration is something we can't, as fans, as couple boosters, can't control.
Well, I appreciate your thoughts as always, and I will be all over Dolphins ATB tonight. Thank you so much, Hussam.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Alex.
Great stuff as always.
Shout out to Brooklyn Rob.
That's his guy. I don't know how much he paid Brooklyn Rob for that very nice endorsement of Hussam's reporting. This man, I got to ask him, Ethan Skolnick. Ethan Skolnick's with us.
Yes.
Were you at the Heat game last night? Because I know our guy Brady Hawk,
No.
I know he's good. Oh, okay. So it's really coming together now because I know Brady is good luck because he's now 4-0 in games.
I was there Wednesday.
The
Donno, I was there Wednesday. I give Brady credit. Alex and Brady were replacing me last night because I didn't have a babysitter. I was actually going to go to the Panther game. So I had assigned the two of them. Alex drives a Lyft. He drives Uber. He's not taking his car and that stuff. I totally understand. That's his lifeline. So he wasn't going to take it through. But Brady did go through. He parted the seas. He made it. He's now 4-0. But I was there. Look, this whole thing about me being a jinx, recognize, okay? I was in the championship locker rooms in 2006, 2012, 2013. I did not keep those teams for winning titles. So I was sprayed with champagne by Jason Williams and Mario Chalmers. I understand. I know what's happened here the past couple of years. I understand me going to the finals, in the bubble, the first 2 games, what happened to Goran and Bam. I am a jinx. Look at that, Hussam. You just got off the air. Go do something else. But yeah. So I'm just telling you, Brady is going to be going to a lot of games, but I will be there at some as well. So I apologize for that in advance. And we got a watch party Tuesday night. I don't know if you're going to be there. We got a watch party. Heat Detroit. If they lose that one, you can blame me. Okay, all right. But Heat Detroit. It's the quarterdeck in Davie, not the one in Plantation. We're getting a little bit closer to the location that I actually go to regularly. So we're going from
west to east gradually.
West to east, and your guys are going to come to 17th Street next and hang out in that great little spot. So we go to the Martini Bar, which they also not the Martini Bar, I'm sorry, the Whiskey Neat right next door, which they also run. But yeah, we're going to do this next Tuesday and go from there. I know, Manny. I'm aware. Look, I saved Malik Monk's career. So there you go. By the way, Donno, before we get to anything else today, did you realize, I don't know if you saw this thing that's been on Twitter today, but I know you're a Bitcoin guy. Will Weintraub is a friend of mine, actually. He's the guy, he had this leadership podcast, which was sponsoring. I went on it, talking about 5 reasons, and he came on my podcast, and he sponsored my podcast. And he broke off to start this this Bitcoin thing they're doing, and they're trying to buy the Dolphins. I don't know if you're aware of this. Yes.
No.
Yeah, I retweeted it, but I think we should have Will on some of our programming because
I like that.
If he's going to buy the Dolphins, we're going to buy it with them.
Hell yeah.
And then we have to decide who's going to coach. I figure Alfredo Arteaga probably will volunteer. Maybe Louis Sung, others on the crew. I mean, I would have CK as our GM. But we're going to have, we're buying the Dolphins, apparently.
Dude.
I'm going to communicate with Will.
Hold on. Let's celebrate for a second. I haven't had to do this in weeks, but I realize I need my Mac is going to die in like 1 minute if I don't plug it in. So hold on. I'm going to let Ethan, maybe Manny Chang, if you want to entertain the folks for about 45 seconds.
I've never hosted a show before, Alex. I don't know if I can pull this off. I'm not really sure. We're just putting up Duncan Robinson photos? That's what you're doing with this, Manny? Oh, that's cute. That's cute. I had to take my daughter home from school today because she had a tummy ache, although that disappeared as soon as she got home. Yeah, see, this is great, Maddie. This is called entertainment. You and I could actually talk about something if you'd like while he's doing this. Or no? All right, good time for me to make an announcement, by the way, since Manny will be involved in this later. We've got a new hockey show starting next Monday.
I'm a so-called professional. I'm back. I got so overjoyed that I'm apparently buying the Dolphins with you. And I want to wish a happy birthday because I just see this on the chat. Our guy, Alfredo Arteaga, 3 yards per carry. He doesn't look a day over 49, but apparently it's his 50th birthday today. So happy birthday to Alf.
I think it's 59, Alex. But yes, a day over 59. Alf was alive for the last playoff win. I don't know if can you and I say that? Just barely, right?
Barely. Yeah, and I remember I was lucky because the last playoff win, I think, was actually blocked on local TV because it wasn't technically a sellout, but I happened to be on vacation out of town, so I could watch the game. I was actually out of the country, and I was able to watch the game, and I would not have been able to watch it on TV if I was local because the last time it was the Dolphins-Colts game, 2000 season. That's the last time. It wasn't even broadcast locally.
December 30th, 2000. You know what's amazing about that when you say that it wasn't broadcast locally because they couldn't sell out? That's how spoiled Dolphins fans were at that time. Yeah. That they couldn't even sell out the stadium for a playoff game. Can you imagine? And now they haven't won one in 21 years. I kind of think they deserve it, right? Like, I mean, you couldn't sell out I remember that too. I was in the building. But if I had been home, I wouldn't have seen it. But yeah, Lamar Smith, 209 yards. Jay Fiedler leads the victory. That was the last one. That was it. And who was the offensive coordinator? You remember?
Was it Norv Turner?
Chan Gailey.
Okay. So I think Norv came in a year or two after that.
Two years. Norv came in 2 years after with Dave. But Chan was there for 2 years. That was the first iteration of Chan. But you don't really want to talk about Chan Gailey with me, right? You want to talk about the
Not
Heat,
really.
I guess?
I do. And listen, first thing is you could see on the scroll down there. I didn't recognize Gabe Vincent last night because he looked incredible. And I will admit, really not since not since he was playing with Team Nigeria over the summer. I've really talked a whole lot about Gabe Vincent since we started the show. He hasn't given me a whole lot to talk about. He was excellent yesterday, Ethan. I mean, 18 points, shot 50%. It's just the next man up mentality of this team is incredible. And listen, not to say, obviously the Wizards had a good record. The Wizards are not a great team.
No,
they beat a poor Pelicans team the night before, but
they also weren't healthy, Alex. I mean,
true.
I mean, look, the Heat didn't have Herro, but they didn't have Dinwiddie, Hachimura. They were without 4 or 5 guys. But yes.
No, fair. But like still, the Heat, since they had their cold streak and they had guys out to start the road trip, the Heat have now been winning games since. And Ethan, the Heat have been winning games despite the fact that for the last several, you've had some combination of Jimmy, Tyler last night, Bam, Kyle Lowry missing games. So it's like this team is now starting to get it together. Next man up mentality, no matter who has to step up. I mean, Udonis Haslem played 7 great minutes a couple of nights ago. It's like no matter who has to step up, and PJ Tucker has been fantastic, by the way. I'll throw that out there as well. Like these guys have such chemistry, and the Heat culture is just permeating everybody on that bench and everybody in that locker room. So like Ethan, I can only imagine obviously you keep your fingers crossed and you knock on wood that by the time you get to the stretch run and a playoff run that everybody is somewhat healthy and rested. But like, once this team is playing playoff series in the Eastern Conference and they're the number 1 team in the East right now, and you've got Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, Kyle Lowry all in the lineup,
maybe
and
Vic,
Victor Oladipo,
maybe Vic,
out of cryo freeze. You bring Vic out of cryo sleep. Like Ethan, I mean, how special can this team be?
Well, you just look at it through the first 16, and we can talk about 3 games they probably could have won, the two in LA and the one against Indiana. The other 2 they were out of. But you look at that and you say, okay, first in the East, but not just first in the East, first in net rating, first in schedule strength, 2. And so you combine all of those things together, and as you mentioned, they haven't been totally healthy. I do think that Heat fans need to get used to that, though. Adam Barai tweeted something yesterday. I think he's right. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of games where their top 4 players all start or all play, because Herro won't start if the other guys are playing. But I think that this is planned. I think it is intentional. Like, for instance, like Jimmy was legitimately hurt, but I think Jimmy could have played against OKC, okay? I think maybe Bam could have come back 1 game earlier. Yeah, they are going to do this all year, and it makes sense. I mean, they don't need to necessarily against certain teams use all 4 of them. They seem to have developed different ways to play when each of them is out. Now, we had this debate on the 4th floor last night. In fact, that's a good point. We should get to that. Appreciate it, Devin. Thank you for sending Alex money.
Devin.
But I will say, but use my code. BetUS.com. 5. It's 5. Not his. Use mine if you sign up. But what I'll say is that I don't think they view it as they have to play everybody together, in part because of what you're talking about. If you look at what they've gotten off of their bench so far, Max Strus missed time too, and he's come back and looked terrific. Now, you look at what Caleb Martin has provided as a 2-way. I mean, is this the best 2-way contract in NBA history? I mean, he's giving you rotation minutes. He actually looks like a player they can develop. They will convert that contract. Greg and I are pretty sure they're going to convert that one as soon as the tax situation is out of the way, which will be about February or March. But if you look at what their bench has provided, and then you look at Gabe, who has been kind of the weak spot of the rotation players. We can talk about Duncan, but you kind of know what Duncan's giving you in other areas. He has progressed defensively, and still he is providing that gravity and that spacing, even though he's not clicking at the rate you would like him to click at. But Gabe was the one guy you're like, okay, is he an NBA rotation player? And not just is he an NBA rotation player, isn't he an NBA rotation player on a contender? That's a different thing. You could be an NBA rotation player in Oklahoma City right now, or in Detroit, or in Orlando. That does not mean you're an NBA rotation player in Milwaukee, and they'll get it together, or Brooklyn, or Miami, or Denver, right? Or Utah. It's different, okay? Mm-hmm. And so I think what we saw last night is they've been waiting for his shooting to catch up with the development of the rest of his game, because he came in as a shooter. He changed his whole form. He's had trouble adjusting to it, but you've seen him make incremental progress as a ball handler, as a decision maker. He's a very good defender. So that's why when I talk to them this offseason, they're like, we'll see. We don't know. With Max and with Gabe, we'll see if they're NBA rotation players on a contender. I think Max has proven he is. I think you look at what he gives you from toughness. He's got some physicality. He's obviously a plus shooter. He's not afraid to shoot. He can finish around the rim. He's an NBA rotation player. I believe that. Gabe, I'm a little bit more on the fence still, but it's been good to see the way he's looked the past couple of games. It looks like it's getting there.
I want to go back to Devin's super chat comment where he says, I wouldn't bring back Victor Oladipo until the playoffs. I think otherwise. I think to me, Ethan, you've got
get him a little run.
Yeah, exactly. A couple people in the chat said this. I mean, obviously, like you want to try to keep him like completely healthy, if that's even possible for Victor Oladipo for the playoffs. But I think he does need a little, because he hasn't played basketball in so long and consistently for so long. I think he's got to get his feet wet a little bit.
Well, not just his feet wet. He's got to get some weight off. I think that's a real, like, they did the surgery correctly this time, supposedly. I haven't heard about any setbacks, okay? I've heard he's been good with the program. So that's all positive. So we were kind of looking sort of Christmas through maybe Valentine's Day, somewhere in that area. I do think, though, that the team playing so well affords them a little bit more leeway. I don't think it's as much of a rush if you're getting good bench play from somebody other than Tyler, and they have been getting that. And so I think that does allow them to be a little bit more judicious with him. But I also think that just because he's ready in terms of his quad being okay or structurally sound does not mean he's going to be in NBA shape or particularly Heat shape. Right. I mean, we stood next to him at media day. He's put on weight, okay? I mean, I know people were getting on me about me taking unflattering photos. It's how he looked, okay? I don't know what you want me to do. I mean, I'm a terrible photographer, but I was literally right in front of him. I can't make him fitter. So, I mean, the camera puts on wet pounds. It doesn't take off. He's got, I think he's got some work to do there, and I don't really blame him because, again, if you're not playing consistently, if you can't put weight, if you're just shooting around, you're not going to be able to take the weight off. You can only do so much with diet. You did see before the cheap shot from Jokic, you did see Markieff Morris sort of working his way into shape. I don't think Markieff came to the Heat anywhere close to Heat shape, but you kind of started to see it by like the second or third week of the season. It's like, okay, he's getting there. I think Vic is a similar process, but maybe an even longer process because, like you said, first he's a guard, okay, and not a big, and secondarily, he hasn't played basketball in a long time.
I loved the 5 on the floor you guys did about Jimmy Butler. Like for me, and obviously, I'm not going to say he's not respected because he obviously is. Although a lot of people dislike him, I think for unfair reasons, but he is respected as a basketball player. But I think he is probably the most underrated superstar caliber player in the league, and I know part of it is because he doesn't have the ring yet, the way that a lot of the other players in that conversation get, but. I thought you guys brought up a great point, you and Greg and company, about just how solid of a two-way player he is and just the ease with which he's putting up triple doubles. And listen, I know people can say, well, he doesn't have the resume that, the LeBrons and the KDs have, Kawhi, et cetera. But I mean, I go back to that bubble run, Ethan, in that final series against the Lakers. I thought Jimmy was the best player in that series on either side. Like they didn't win the championship, but I thought Jimmy actually had the best series of anybody.
Yeah, and I think that's why, and I tweeted this today, I think this sentiment that was out there, and I heard a lot of this when they were signing Jimmy to the max extension, and even from Heat fans who were freaking out about it, what he's going to look like in 3 years. And one of the things that came up was, can you win a championship with Jimmy Butler as your best player? And what I say is they almost did already. And they might have if, I hadn't gone to Orlando and jinxed them and Bam and Dragic hadn't gotten hurt. I mean, the reality, they were right there. So this idea that you can't win with him as your best player, I think is false. Now, I think he needs a cast around him, but you can say that about a lot of stars in the league. Okay. I mean, there's very few. I mean, Giannis needed a cast around him. Okay. I mean, they added Drew Holiday. They invested a lot to go get him. I think right now, if you look at the MVP race, to me, it's Steph because he's doing otherworldly. I mean, he's breaking his own records now. It's insane. And that team is playing at an extremely high level, and I don't think that team should be at that record. You look at their talent without Clay. I mean, I don't know what they're going to look like when Clay comes back, but that is not a team that should be, whatever. They're 12 games over 500. He's the MVP. But I do think in the Eastern Conference, I think Jimmy has been one of the 3 most impactful players, and I would actually say one of the 2 most with Durant. I think DeRozan has been terrific, but I don't put him at Jimmy's level defensively. But he's been terrific. But it's really Jimmy and Durant so far in the East, and I guess Embiid to a little bit of a lesser degree. He's been tremendous. But I think you said the word, it's the ease. He doesn't seem to be, I don't know, laboring at all. Like it's and part of it is the shape he got into this offseason. He took some more time off, played some tennis, cleared his mind. He had a full break. He got the contract done. That's now he knows he's going to be rich forever, generationally, right? Like that's done.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a kid who grew up basically homeless, okay? Went to JUCO, was drafted 30th. I mean, this is not a silver spoon story. It should be one of the most celebrated stories in the NBA, honestly. But there is bitterness in certain markets towards him that I think if they would look at it and say, okay, where's Minnesota gone since he left? They made the playoffs with him. Where what has happened? What wasn't he right about Ben Simmons, which was some stuff that was going on behind the scenes? Wasn't he right about Cat? And then in Chicago, I mean, I don't think people perceived him as the problem necessarily, but I mean, it was him and Dwayne against the young players in Chicago.
Yeah.
And, for Dwayne to get upset, I mean, that tells you something. I just think that he is playing at a ridiculous level. He certainly deserves credit for it, but it is the ease with which he's playing. It's the comfort. He's got his buddy here, and it's like, he is basically just hunting mismatches. Like you can watch him going down the floor and just, as Alex Alito, one of my co-hosts says all the time, food. He's just, he comes down and he's, you throw someone 6'4" or under on him, he's going right in the post and punishing that player. Like that is, and there's no hesitation. As he said, it's good offense, and he can do even more when Kyle's in there. Mm-hmm. So this idea that Jimmy's going to fall off, I don't see it. I do think with Jimmy, there are certain things that need to be managed. People make too much of his minutes. He's missed a lot of time over his career. His minute count for his career is really not that high, okay, even with Tibbs pushing him. I think the thing that has to be managed is he has ankle problems a lot, okay? We know about the wrist. There's been some other stuff he's dealt with. But I think they're wise when he has an ankle injury. Give him an extra game. Just give him an extra game. He always comes back like a house of fire when he finally does come back, and space it out throughout the season.
So a couple more things I want to ask you. One more Heat thing, and then I've got to ask you about possible Canes coaches before we wrap it up. But on the Miami Heat, we are about 10 days away from the rematch with the Denver Nuggets and the Jokic brothers. The older brother. We'll be in the arena. We'll be they're causing some problem maybe. So what are you expecting? Do you think that maybe we're building this up like it's going to be a heavyweight title fight and it's just going to end up being like a clean game, or do you think it's going to be chippy?
I mean, I think there'll be a message sent early, but I don't think there'll be any brawling or anything like that. Look, these are two teams that actually have contending aspirations. I mean, I know the Nuggets have been a little disappointing. Michael Porter Jr. is a weird story this year, and they don't have Jamal Murray back yet. But these are not like lottery teams. These are teams that really don't want their players to be suspended for a long period of time. I don't think anything actually is going to happen. My issue with it is that I feel like the NBA took Morris's reputation into account when they made the decision to only suspend Jokic for one game. I mean, look, Morris, for something that Denver fans, and they were all over my mentions yesterday, for something that Denver fans are saying was nothing, he's missed 6 games. I mean, It was something.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, well, Morris started it. Well, actually, that's not true. I mean, Jokic
he started it on Bam. He fouled Bam.
Yeah. And so, again, we can talk about 90s basketball or 80s basketball or whatever, and it's an eye for an eye and all that. But, I mean, even in the 80s, if a guy blindsided another player, I mean, that wasn't like just, okay, that's 80s basketball. I mean, if Rodman or Mahorn or Lambeer, okay, just to pick 3 Pistons from that era, did that, there would be retaliation. And so the idea that, again, I would expect that the Heat will do something. I don't think they're like going to start UD, okay, in the game alongside PJ Tucker up front. I mean, I don't think that's actually going to happen. But I think there'll be a statement made. As far as the Jokic brothers goes, it's ridiculous. I mean, maybe there'll be a flood and they won't get there. Who knows? Brady will be there, but the Jokic brothers won't make it. Yeah. I think it came across again. Well, that stuff was fun. I mean, fun. People don't know what that was really about, though. I'm not going to say it.
I don't even know the inside scoop on that.
All the Heat Knicks stuff was about a woman. All of it.
Really?
I'm not going to get into depth on it.
I know this is going to piss off the viewers because they hate when we go behind the curtain, but I've got to hit you up off air at some point for that story, and I will not share.
It's a very simple story, but all the Heat Knicks stuff, like there were a lot of, and I covered all those games. There were a lot of rivalries. Hardaway Spreewall later on, the Van Gundys and Riley leaving New York and the facts. But there was one thing that led to most of it. That's all I'll say. Okay, and it wasn't between P.J. Brown and Charlie Ward, which, by the way, is the weirdest fight ever. I had Michael Rappaport on with me on 5
That was a great interview.
Big Knicks fan, and he's calling P.J. Brown an ass, and he hates him. P.J. Brown is literally, I've done this for 25 years, one of the 5 nicest people I've ever been around in this business. And Charlie Ward was like, he was anti-Semitic, but he was a preacher, right? And so, it was just a weird fight. Like, it just was not, and it was literally right in front of me because I covered all those, and we'll never have that again. Never. Like, we talked about the Big Three was fun, and it was, of course. We'll never have that again. But, to have 4 series against a rival all go to the last game. They all went the distance, whether it was best of 5 or best of 7. They all went the distance, and 3 of them were literally decided on the last play. Mm-hmm. You will never end the brawls, the fights, but I'm telling you, it all started about a woman. That's how most of these things start. Go ahead.
So I want to close it with Ethan on the potential Miami Hurricanes coaching vacancy. Manny, can you pull up the Twitter poll that I put out there, which is all the Twitter polls we do for this show are served by the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. The simplest of questions to Miami fans. And I think at least one of these 2 guys would come, if not both wanting the job. Mm-hmm. So I do, despite popular belief from a lot of the Gator fans and the haters. So I asked my viewers if both wanted to come to the U, would you prefer Mario Cristobal or Lane Kiffin? Now, and Mario is in a big lead here, 72%, almost 200 votes have been cast. Now, for me personally, Mario is my top choice, but not for the reason a lot of people have. Okay, a lot of people are just like, oh no, we need Miami ties. We need a guy who's played here before. And I'm a lifelong Miami fan. I'm an alum. That's not as important to me. The reason why I favor Mario over Lane, and I love both, I think they could both do a great job here, is I could just see Mario staying here for longer. Like if Lane Kiffin were to do well in Miami, 3 or 4 years, it's a stepping stone for his next thing. Whereas Mario might actually want to serve out 2 or 3 contracts here.
If Lane Kiffin died and went to heaven, he would be looking for the next place to spend eternity. Right? And look, and I'm a Lane fan, actually. I think what he did at FAU was fairly remarkable, actually. He made it kind of a cool place to go. But that's the way he is. I agree with you. Mario would be more tied to it. Honestly, and look, I should give some credit. I know, and credit to Andy Slater for reporting the Lane Kiffin stuff, which our guy Alfredo, who turns 50 today, told me about like 4 days earlier. And
Same here, and I was so stupid I didn't tweet it. Like I'm so old school. I'm like, I want to talk about this on my show. Yeah. And by the time my show started, Slater had already tweeted it.
Yeah, well, Andy's good like that. But Alfredo had that for a few days. I think we've all kind of heard that if Lane got offered the job, he would likely take the job. He wants to be down here. I know everybody's like SEC. Yeah, it's SEC, but it's Mississippi. Right. I think either would be great. I think the only problem here is that I think Canes fans are being set up for disappointment if it turns out to be neither.
Yeah, of course.
And as long as they don't hire from Temple this time, I'm okay with it. Seriously, let's get a guy from the Northeast, right? Okay, and have him bring in his defensive coordinator to play, drop coverage. Okay, when
drop 11 guys in a
drop
coverage.
11 guys when every single corner in Miami, all of the athletes play bump and run. That's brilliant. I think if you haven't read Vishnu's article on the site, it's interesting to see Vishnu, who is actually optimistic for a change. He typically is not. Yeah. I know you've had him on the show a lot, but about how basically, and it's just a great takedown of the whole Blake James era, to be honest. I mean, they basically hired somebody completely unqualified for the position, and now the hope is that essentially they will spend some actual money, because that is what it's about. I mean, we can talk about anything else, but ultimately you have to spend the money. You've got to spend it on facilities. You got to spend it on the recruiting. And obviously in some cases, I'm not going to name certain schools, but we know that some schools spend it in ways they're not supposed to spend it. But you just can't compete these days if you're not going to spend. And I would love to see Mario here. I know I have a lot of friends in the media who I don't know Mario that well, but I have a lot of friends in the media who are very close with Mario, who have always felt he would want to come back down here. Does it happen? I don't know. Leaving that gig though. I mean, the Nike money doesn't run out. It just doesn't run out.
Right.
So there you go.
I appreciate it. I got to let you run because we've got a friend of ours waiting who makes us money every week. Not to say Ethan makes us money as well on this network, but you're not like Lee Sterling. I mean, Lee Sterling just lines my pockets.
No, but when he's lining mine, it's BetUS.com with the code 5. Have a good day, Alex.
I appreciate it, Ethan. Awesome stuff. All right, let's bring on the man himself, Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. Lee, good afternoon. How are you?
Good. That was pretty good. I like the way Ethan just threw that in there, just slid it in there before he headed out. So,
well, he and I, we have competing promo codes at BetUS.com. My code is 5RSN125. I'm not going to say his code again because I want people to use my code, but we have competing codes. Honestly, the smart money is on our code 5RSN125. Ethan mushed. Now I am a mush. Lee Sterling is not a mush. Now, before we get into some bets and some picks for the weekend, Lee, I want to ask you about some local teams that will get your preferred picks as well. You're a Miami Hurricanes supporter, as I am. Right. We obviously they are looking for a new AD, and I think they're going to be looking for a new head coach here soon. It's been widely reported that if offered, Lane Kiffin would take the job. I think Mario Cristobal would be Miami's first choice, but maybe he doesn't take the job. Maybe he would take the job. So if it came down to those two, and I know this is very optimistic, maybe it won't be one of these two, but if it came down to these two, Mario Cristobal or Lane Kiffin, who does Lee Sterling think is the better choice?
So I think Mario is the better choice. I don't think, though, that Ethan, I heard what he said. I don't think he'd bolt in 2 or 3 years. I think he'd be here 5+ years.
Okay.
So, I mean, where's he going to go that is that much better? Yeah,
it would have to be like an Ohio State, Michigan type of job that would. But
Lane Kiffin's not moving to Columbus, Ohio. Or Ann Arbor, Michigan,
point.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Although
the co-eds up in Columbus get pretty crazy. I saw those Urban Meyer videos. So you can do okay for yourself up there.
Yeah, but you got models down here. You got co-ed there. You got the difference is models here in South Florida. I think he'd like to date models. So I think both would be good fits. Mario, obviously, because of recruiting. I think there's a good chance. I think there's 60-40 that he comes. I think. Now, would I personally come to Miami if I was him? No. Here's why I say that. You can go 10-2 there, and you get a few people that are upset if you lose a game or two.
Right.
You go 10-2 here, and you get waxed by someone, it's like the end of the world.
It is.
So I think he might want that challenge, though, to bring Miami back. And Miami can make it now happen with the money. But yes. I just think that Lane would be great here also. Lane's not as strong a recruiter, which we need. But I think these kids in South Florida might see that offense, and they might just start come knocking on his door. So it's inexcusable, Alex, that we don't have one South Florida recruit committed from Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach.
Right.
It's almost unfathomable. So that's one of maybe 10 things, maybe 20 things I have a problem with Manny's whole regime. So he'll be done. I think it's 98% that he's gone. I don't know whether they tell him when he walks off the field or in the locker room after the game, or they invite him for, bagels and donuts on Sunday morning. I think it's over.
All right. So sticking on the Canes tip, they've got Virginia Tech in prime time tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Virginia, we talk about Miami, they're looking for a new AD. They'll possibly be looking for a new head coach. Virginia Tech just fired their coach, Justin Fuente. Miami favorite at home in this game, senior day. Do you like anything here?
Tough game because of weather. If it's raining, anything could happen. I probably won't play the game for that reason. But they were throwing, if you watched the Duke game last week, they were running reverses last week.
Yeah.
So they run so much motion and they fake one way, they hand off the other way, or motion, fake one way, fake the other way, and throw back the original way that it looked like they were going. I think our linebackers are going to have a horrible time trying to figure out what's going on. We have trouble figuring out on just straight dive plays, where we should go, our linebackers. So our defense hasn't done anything against anyone the whole year. So I think Miami wins just because we have more talent, 35-30. I'll take the 8 points in Virginia Tech.
Okay. What about the Miami Dolphins heading up to the Meadowlands to take on Joe Flacco and the New York Jets?
When someone signed him this year and then the Jets were dumb enough to trade for him, I mean, are you kidding? Just tank. I mean, he's terrible. Play it out with Mike White
and they should know that because he was just there. They know he's terrible.
Yeah, he was awful last year. And you watch these guys and Ben Roethlisberger compared to what he used to be. It's sad. They look the same in the uniform, but they're just their reactions and they just don't have the same, type of power behind their passes. They don't make the same quick decisions. They probably had I hate to say it, bunch of concussions, and they just don't know when to quit here. I think Joe Flacco's terrible. I think their defense, they've given up 175 points in 4 games, Alex. I mean, they lost their best player, their safety, May. He's gone now for the year with an Achilles injury.
Right.
I think Tua's going to have a big game here. I like Miami 31-13.
And let me ask you something, because I was talking about this to start the show, and I was getting torched by a lot of the Tua stands in the chat. And I know you'll give me an objective opinion on this, Lee. Who would you rather have quarterbacking the Miami Dolphins right now? Tua Tagovailoa or Mac Jones?
Mac Jones.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I was getting shredded in the chat earlier.
Yeah. And not that I think Mac Jones is going to be the greatest, maybe not even a top 5 quarterback, could be top 10. I think Tua could be fine. Yeah. We just got to block for the guy and put some weapons around him. I mean, the receivers are hurt. I mean, you go out and get a receiver from Houston. Guys played 2 games, something like that. Parker is hurt. I mean, he walks out of the locker room and he trips over a blade of grass and he's hurt. He's done. Those 2 guys are gone. I mean, Waddle, we can't even put him on a long pass play because the offensive line can't protect for him long enough. We have no running backs. I mean, I watched Jonathan Taylor, and I'm sick to my stomach. We could have had this guy. We had 3 picks that year, and we didn't pick this guy as a second or third guy. I know that the people say don't pick a running back that high. Watch Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
You tell me. I'd spend a middle first round, late first round any day of the week. Or, trade back to the first or second pick of the second round and pick him. I mean, the problem here is Greer should be gone. If Greer's not gone at the end of the year, there's a real problem. He messed up 3 drafts. I mean, I think we got maybe 2 out of 9 players in the first and second round. So it's the way I see it. I'm not upset, though. I'm not upset at all.
Sure. Hey, right. I could tell. So we got a big weekend, of course, from college football, NFL, NBA, UFC. Yeah. We're both into that. What are some of your preferred plays for the weekend?
So I like Ohio State big over Michigan State. Michigan State can run the ball, and they'll have some success running, but they're going to have to run for 275 or 300 to have a chance in that game. Their pass defense is dead last, 130th out of 130 teams. Ohio State has 3 receivers I think might go in the first round. I think they have something like 160 catches, the 3 receivers, and 25 touchdowns. They have 4 or 5 games left. They're that scary good. So they get up by a couple touchdowns, it's over in that game. Same with Alabama against Arkansas. Arkansas hasn't beaten Bama. There's got to be some form of South Florida ties since Mike Shula was a coach in 2006. Wow. Yeah. Wow. I think McFadden was a running back at that time when they won. So going way back.
Game, actually. Yeah.
I think it was at Arkansas where Alabama might have scored first and Alabama just ran right through them. But problem is Arkansas, once they fall behind, they're going to have to throw the football. Alabama defense has gotten better as the season's progressed here. And the one weakness they had, LSU threw about 50 blitzes at Alabama, and they held Alabama down in that game. Now Alabama's seen every blitz to mankind that you can run against them, and I think they'll adjust and hit on some big plays against Arkansas's talent is not that good. The coaching is very good, talent level not good enough. And then in the NFL, I like Indianapolis over Buffalo. I think Michael Pittman coming along. They finally have a number one receiver. Jonathan Taylor. They should have won the game last year. If that game goes another quarter, they beat Buffalo last year in that game. Thought the officiating was really poor. So I'll take the 7 there. And Michael Chiesa in UFC, co-main event. We've got the Maverick from Top Gun. Chiesa and also Sean Brady, who he's fighting, who's 14-0. Both guys come from wrestling backgrounds. Chiesa almost submitted Vincent Luque, who's really good. And then he got submitted later in that round.
Yeah, I remember I bet Luque in that fight, and we did win that one, but I was very nervous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chiesa's a high-level submission expert. So neither one of these guys are real good at stand-up, but Sean, don't call me Tom Brady. I mean, I don't think he's ready yet. He has not fought this level of fighter, and just that experience factor, I think, is too great. So I think that we'll see Chiesa probably win a decision. He might get maybe a submission with a rear naked choke late in maybe second or third round. That might be how that fight ends. And I think the Maverick takes it over. What will be after the fight, we'll call him not Sean Brady. I think it's going to be Peter Brady.
Peter, I like that. And our guy, Alex M, who I know is a big fight fan, I actually agree with Lee, but he disagrees with us. Respectfully, I'm sure he says Sean Brady all day. I will say, we will see, sir. You put your money on Sean Brady. I'll put my money on Michael Chiesa, who is, I never bet against Italians, by the way. He's a Paisan. I never bet against Italians, and I never bet against Dagestan.
No, you don't bet it against Dagestan. We've learned our lesson there. During the pandemic, 155 to 160 underdog. Nice underdog. So, I mean, anyone can give you a 250, 350 favorites. I see these guys, they make these tapes, that looks like they're in their basement, their mom's basement. I can't understand half of them. They're giving out 350s minus 600 favorites.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then they're going to be like, hey, we went 3-2 last week. Thanks. I lost money on the 2 bets that I lost.
Then the next week you see they're doing they're betting $10, or betting pizzas. You see they're doing the tape the next week from under the bridge, under the highway. I think I've studied this fight pretty well, and I think you want to take a shot on a nice big dog here.
I love it. How about this? Bet on Chiesa or Alex gets an off-brand tracksuit. We've already established, I don't even care what brand it is.
No.
If Lee wants to slap the Paramount Sports logo on like the Marshall's brand tracksuit and send it to me, I'm okay with that.
You are going to get a tracksuit. We are going to get you a tracksuit. Now, it's not going to be a full track. You're going to get the jacket,
Okay. Also, I'll need to find some matching pants. Okay.
Yeah, you got to put in like 3 or 4 years here. So at Paramount Sports. But the host, we will hook them up with jackets.
Yeah, because my dream is like once I get into like my mid 40s, like I just want to become, Tony Soprano. Like I just want to wear tracksuits around everywhere. I know it's a little bit problematic when it's like 95 degrees here most of the year, but I just I want to sort of morph into that. So we're slowly making that transformation.
Oh, you go and you watch your kid play soccer, and you stand on the sideline with your hat. I mean, if you're wearing that hat and you're wearing like a Paramount Sports full tracksuit, I mean, that's some serious business.
I look like a made guy if I'm wearing that.
Yeah, no one's messing with you.
Lee Sterling. Let the people know, by the way, what they can find at ParamountSports.com.
Well, we hit on our 40 to 50 unit play last week in the NFL. Got another 40 to 50 unit play. Go to ParamountSports.com. Not November, call it Dovember. $297 for 2 weeks.
That is awesome. Lee, thank you so much. Enjoy the weekend coming up.
Okay. Thanks, Alex.
Oh, that's awesome. I was going to make fun of Manny's shoes a little bit, but he told me his computer died, so he had to log off. It's crazy. Like during the Ethan Skolnick interview, my laptop was going to die. I forgot to plug it in. And then like if you, I'm sure all computers do this, but like the MacBook, when your laptop battery is dying, you would think it's like the countdown to the apocalypse when the thing starts flashing red. Like I panic. I'm like, oh my God, my laptop is dying. What am I going to do? Oh my God. So no, we rectified it. I had a charger. I just had to plug it in. Manny apparently does not have a charger on him because he doesn't come prepared like I do each and every show. So this was awesome. I want to shout out a few of our sponsors here, and then I want to shout out our viewers, as many as we possibly can. And the turnout today in the live chat has been awesome. We covered a little bit of everything today, right? We covered potential head coaches at the U. We covered the Miami Heat. We covered the Miami Dolphins. We got some winners for the weekend with Lee Sterling. You know, you're a winner every weekend when you go to the Quarter Deck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Guys, I'm telling you, this should be your hangout every Saturday and Sunday during football season, and hang out with us. Tuesday night, we're going to be watching the Miami Heat and Detroit Pistons at the Quarter Deck in Davie. The Davie location, it's right across the street from Nova Southeastern University, right between 595 and Griffin Road. It's a really awesome spot, guys. I would love to see everybody out there this coming Tuesday night. Enjoy some awesome chicken wings, some buffalo shrimp. Try the fresh fish out there at the Quarter Deck. The burgers are fantastic, guys. I love the All-American burger at the Quarter Deck. And wet your whistle with the 2-for-1 happy hour. The 2-for-1 never ends. That is all day, every day, 2-for-1 happy hour at the Quarter Deck. It is so, so good. The beer is always ice cold. When you're watching college football on Saturdays and NFL on Sundays, on weekends, they have the 5 for $15 ice cold buckets of Heineken Light, Amstel Light, High Noon Hard Seltzer, or mix and match those to your heart's content. This is the place to be. And the Quarter Deck has every UFC pay-per-view fight for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door. So if you want to find the location nearest to you, or check their menu before you go, and make sure we see you out there on Tuesday night with 5 Reasons Sports, go to quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarter Deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And guys, you know, we were talking, Ethan brought up crypto earlier. We have a new member of the Donno Daily family, and that is BlockFi. We are now officially a BlockFi affiliate. If you haven't checked out BlockFi, here's something. Now, if you're a crypto trader already, or if you're someone who's been looking to get into crypto, because everybody's talking about it. I've been into it for about a year. I've made money, and I really have fun tracking it and studying it and learning a lot about it, from Bitcoin to Ethereum to all the altcoins. Now, BlockFi, what makes BlockFi amazing is not only can you make money when the crypto market goes up and when the prices go up, but you can earn interest at BlockFi. This is what we call passive income, my friends. When you sign up at BlockFi, you can open an interest account with your crypto. As you see there, it's very easy to buy or to transfer your crypto to BlockFi, and you can earn up to 8% APY in crypto. You're not going to find rates like that in traditional banking. 8% APY. Have you seen like the interest rates on savings accounts recently? It's like 0.0001%. Like BlockFi, you're actually making interest and your crypto works for you. And you can also apply for the BlockFi Rewards Visa Signature credit card and earn unlimited 1.5% back in Bitcoin. So let's stack those sats. And if you want to sign up, guys, I would encourage you, please use our referral link where you get a special deal. And if you use our referral link, we get credit for the sign up, which is very important to our partnership with BlockFi. So I have our referral link. We posted it in the show description. So you're watching us on YouTube. In the show description, you will see BlockFi earn 8% APY with our referral link. If you want to get started, click on that referral link and sign up and start sacking those sats and make those stacking those sats, I should say, and making interest at BlockFi. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing, my friends, how we can make money off of our crypto in addition to the gains that we make in the crypto space. And yeah, as we've said several times today, and we'll keep pounding the drum for our friends at BetUS.com. Guys, it is a full-service sports book. It's like having Las Vegas on your smartphone or on your computer. Not only can you bet on sports, and they have odds on everything. You'll find odds on sports you won't find in other places, and including the big boys, of course, NFL, NBA, UFC fights, college football, NHL. You'll find all of that and more at BetUS.com. They've got fair odds on everything. They've got the best customer service in the industry. It's why they're called America's favorite sports book. And they also have the best bonuses in the industry. And this is why, guys, you should seriously try BetUS.com because you've probably seen and heard advertisements for other sports books. They don't have the bonuses that BetUS.com has. And BetUS doesn't have these ridiculous rollovers that some of the other sites have. I don't think you'll find this anywhere else, a 125% sign-up bonus. So you can make it rain free play money. If you sign up with our code 5RSN125, you're going to get a 125% sign-up bonus. This is how it works. Hypothetically, you deposit $100. They're going to give you $125 of free play money on top of your $100. So if you deposit $1,000, you're going to get $1,250 in free play money, and that free play money is going to last you a long time, man. So do what we do. Play with some free play money. You'll love BetUS.com. Use our code 5RSN125. All right, let's throw some shout outs. This is funny from Alex M. Buy Dogecoin and you won't need a savings account. I have some Doge, I do, but you know, I'm not 19 years old. So I have some Doge, but the vast majority of my portfolio, because listen, I've got a child, I've got a family. I cannot afford to go all in on meme coins. I've got a little bit of Doge. I've got a little bit of Shiba Inu, which was pumping like crazy. But if I go all in on meme coins, the rug pull, you never know. So most of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. That's the largest percentage. Ether, second largest percentage after that. Cardano, Solana, a few others. So I do have some Doge, but man, I'm a riverboat gambler in certain things, not when it comes to my cryptos. So I like if Doge pumps, Shiba pumps, but yeah, I can't afford to go all in on that. But we love Alex M. He's a great dude. We appreciate you in the chat. Oh, by the way, has the lunar eclipse, has that already started going on? I keep forgetting. Like I want to go outside and look at it, but it's been cloudy at night. So I don't even know if I could see it, but I want to see that damn eclipse. Devin Jordan, thank you so much. And he gave us a super chat earlier as well. Devin, you are the man. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us. We appreciate it. Trevor Gaffney, always our guy. Thank you so much for tuning in. KG, who's pumping up Javon Holland. He is a stud. Javon Holland is playing like a man. He is awesome. Remy LeBeau, thank you so much. They were, the context for this, they were, we're talking about Mario Cristobal. Alex M said, oh, who, Mario Lopez? Listen here, Preppy. Saved by the Bell, fantastic show. Tiffany Amber Thiessen, who played Kelly Kapowski, my first crush. Like, she was my first crush. She's got to be, like, in her 50s now, the actress. Still looks fantastic. Like, Cougar Town, baby. She still looks unbelievable. Let's see who else was in. Bromar Smelly, thank you so much. Mario Chalmers for Kane's coach. How about Super Mario? It's me, Mario. I would take him here. Who else? Let's see. PB Matthew, thank you so much for tuning in. Our guy Welch. I always appreciate Welch. Jokic gives take fouls like that all the time. Who else? Zachary B, thank you so much for tuning in. Brooklyn Rob, the guy who created my nickname. He didn't create the nickname, but he gave it to me, the Mush. Yeah, by the way, it's true. Like there's I don't think I'm as fat as I look on this webcam that I'm using today, because it does this like weird fisheye thing. And like I'm telling you, this camera doesn't add 10 pounds. This camera adds 20 pounds. I've actually lost 14 pounds in the last about 6 weeks, 5 weeks even. I think I've lost 14 pounds because, dude, when I get into something, I'm all in. My cholesterol was a little bit high a couple months ago. I haven't eaten anything with cholesterol in it in 6 weeks. It's crazy. So yeah, I think that this camera makes me look like 14 pounds heavier the way I was like 5 or 6 weeks ago. Henry Ian O, hello to, I know Rafa in Miami was in here. Rafa in Miami, hello to you. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Big Dan 305. I love this dude. He's religious. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's religious in real life, but when it comes to watching the show, he's religious. Every single day he's in there. I don't know what actual religion he is a part of, whether he's Presbyterian, Jewish, Hindu, Muslim. I really have no clue. And it doesn't matter. All religions. Scientologists are welcome to watch this show. Absolutely. You could be part of like a tiny cult. You could watch this show. I don't even care. Religious freedom, no religious persecution on this show. Let's see who else. Oh, Hussam, who also joined us today. He took part in the live chat as well. Ray Grullon, I love this dude. Yeah, he was commenting on Ethan Skolnick, who joined us. Jacob Martin. Oh, by the way, when I saw this message come in, it wasn't really a good time in the conversation because we were with one of our guests, so it wasn't really a good time to bring this up. I'm assuming you all know what this means here. Jacob Martin says he is Eskimo brothers with Liam Eichenberg. Now, the fact that he put it in all caps, it makes it sound like he just literally found that out today. So what that means, I think that term was created on the show The League. That was a taco thing on The League. Eskimo brothers are two gentlemen who have a sexual partner in common. Like this dude, Jacob, must have just found out that somebody he's, done the nasty with has also gone between the sheets between Liam Eichenberg. And he seems very excited about that. I guess that's an honor, right? To be Eskimo brothers with a Miami Dolphins player. Congratulations to you, Jacob. That's a huge feat. G.A. Canes fan is with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me see. I think I already shouted out Zachary B, but I want to make sure to get him in here just in case. Jay Royales King, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. And let me see who else. It never lets me scroll up to the very beginning. Remy LeBeau, thank you so much. It's going to cut me off here in a second, I think. Will M, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking part in the show today. Oh, and Alex M also, I want to give him a shout out. He threw in a super chat earlier. Thank you so much, man. Brian Flores hates Tua. He might. I mean, there's certainly some evidence that would make it appear that way with the way he's handled this quarterback situation. Brooklyn Rob, I think I already shouted him out. Yeah, A-Rod is in the chat today. Dwayne Johnson to the Canes. Did you see that somebody put out, and it's actually somebody that I follow on Twitter. I can't remember who it is now, but it's a Canes fan, obviously, actually started an online petition for Dwayne The Rock Johnson to be the athletic director at Miami. And last I saw, it has over 40,000 signatures. Now, like, I'm not even going to dignify that with a conversation. I mean, this guy makes like $20 million a movie. You think he wants to do non-conference schedules and fundraising? But yeah, I'd be all for it. The Rock wants to get involved with the football program. Who am I to say no? And I think that's pretty much it as far as the shout outs go. So huge thank you to everybody for tuning in. Manny Chang is back, by the way. So whatever his computer died or something, he was able to rectify that situation. You see a couple, I've never had jerseys hanging in here before, but I've got a couple of jerseys behind me. You probably already know what those are, but the orange one, that is a vintage Jim Kelly, the man himself, one of the all-time greats at the University of Miami, also a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And I'm repping a Shaquille O'Neal. I like to go for obscure choices sometimes. It would have been a lot more obvious if I had a Dwayne Wade hanging up there, or a Chris Bosh, or a Alonzo, or a Timmy Hardaway, but I felt like putting a Shaquille O'Neal out there. I remember, I don't think that jersey fits me anymore, but when I was, I guess I was like 19, 20 when he came to the Heat, and I was so excited for Shaq. I went out and I bought a Shaq jersey. He did help us win a title, Wasn't a huge fan of the way he left and, got what he said after he got traded, but good times. All right. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Go Dolphins this weekend. Go Heat. Go Panthers. Go Hurricanes. Let's collect as many W's as possible. Everyone have a great happy hour today. Enjoy. Seize the day. Carpe that diem. We will talk to you guys again on Monday. Same time, same place, 3 p.m. right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.